In the deployment area, users with lifecycle maintain permissions can export a range of objects from SAP Analytics Cloud or import objects that have previously been exported. We'll begin by creating an export and then re-import the content to our system. Exporting allows us to transfer content between SAP Analytics Cloud deployments or to back up the current state of objects and data in case we need to revert. Note that exported content can be imported only to the same SAP Analytics Cloud version from which it was exported, or the next version, so exporting is not recommended for archiving content. Now we'll create a new export. In the left panel, we can choose the objects to export, including dimensions, models, currency tables, roles, connections, allocation steps and processes, data wrangling files, value driver trees, geolocation dimensions, data locks, data actions, and files such as stories. We can select all the objects of any category or expand the list to choose the individual objects we want. In this case, we'll export a story. Note that when we select the story, all the dependent objects are selected automatically. Here we can see a list of the associated dimensions, models, currency tables, allocation steps and processes, data locks, and data actions that are also selected for export. The left panel also identifies the dependent objects that are selected. We can clear these dependent selections if we choose. For this example, we'll keep all the dependencies. For some object types, we can also choose if we want to export the associated data. For this example, we'll export all the data. We can specify a name for the export file, which will be saved locally. We can include the audit data in the export if desired. The progress displays as the objects are exported. When the process is complete, we get a success message. When we return to the export screen, we see our export in the list. From here, we can search for exports, refresh the list, create new export units, and delete or copy existing exports. When we select an item in the list, we can see all its details. We can add or remove items and re-export if desired. Now we'll import the export file we just created. First, we need to upload the local file. We see a preview of the objects in the file and can choose which items to import, as well as whether to import the associated data. Once we've made our selections, we're ready to import. In the Options area, we can choose what to do when objects with identical names already exist on the system. If we don't choose any of these options, the import process will ignore any objects with names identical to objects already in the system. The Update Existing Object option overwrites any existing objects and data with the imported versions. Note that for models, the privacy settings and access permissions assigned to the roles are not changed. The Import Data Only option imports the new data but leaves the objects themselves unchanged. The Drop Objects option overwrites objects in the system with the imported versions. For models and dimensions, the privacy and data access control settings are replaced by the settings in the imported versions, and the permissions assigned to each role for the object are reset. For this example, we'll choose the Update Existing Objects option. We get a message that existing objects will be overwritten when their names are identical to objects selected to import. The progress displays as the objects are imported. On the import screen, our import has been added to the history list. From here, we can search for imports, refresh the list, add new imports, upload existing exports, and delete or copy items. As with the exports, we can select an import from the list to view its details. We can also make changes and re-import if desired. Thanks for watching.